Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about what to expect with the upcoming PulseChain.com launch and really just build some of the hype around it. You've probably heard about this by now. The PulseChain launch is here to fix cryptocurrency, but stick around till the end if you want to learn what that actually means for you and what you can personally do to mentally prepare yourself and even just physically prepare yourself by testing things out and knowing what to expect. So there's a lot of people asking me questions about, what is PulseChain? What can I do in the meantime? And really, guys, the unfortunate answer is you just have to wait right now. The sacrifice phase is over. Hex is reaching new all-time highs. Just today, I think we tapped 25 cents. I mean, everything is going great. It's really beautiful to be in Hex.com and PulseChain at a time like this. But, everyone's wondering and asking, what do we do about PulseChain? What is it? How do I get involved? I'm just here to dispel some of the hype, and try to clear the air, because there's a lot of scammers out there. A lot of people are going to tell you, hey, I've got some Pulse tokens over here, or come join this PulseChain group. There's a lot of fake scammers out there, guys. Really, really be careful when you're getting into this, because a lot of people are trying to take advantage of all the hype and how excited everybody is about this, and they're going to try to make fake versions of PulseChain or fake websites, fake Telegram groups. Do not fall for it. Watch this video and you'll learn about what to really expect and what's coming up. So, what's PulseChain going to be? Well, if you don't know by now, it's a fork of Ethereum. I'll just repeat myself on that. We're forking the Ethereum code to fix the user experience with Ethereum, because right now, swapping fees and transaction fees are astronomically high. They're anywhere from $50 to, I've seen $1,000 to do anything on Ethereum. So a lot of people are priced out from getting into Ethereum, and that really hurts adoption, right? If you have to be rich enough to afford a $50 transaction, you're going to exclude a lot of people from the ecosystem, and nobody's going to want to get into crypto, right? The whole point of crypto is to adopt people. That's how the price goes up, and that's how we all get included in this financial revolution. So you can't adopt people if, when you tell them to get involved, it costs $20 to get in, $50 to stake your Hex, $100 to swap USDC for Hex. It's just ridiculous. So PulseChain is going to fix all that. It's going to be a new ecosystem very similar to Ethereum, but with a lot better code, a lot better consensus mechanisms, and much, much more. Now, we've already seen online, Richard Heart is openly and publicly making available what's included for the MVP. And if you don't know what MVP is, it's a term in software that we use for minimum viable product. So that's what it stands for. And this is a list that Richard Heart, the founder, has publicly released on Twitter, and I'll show that to you in a minute. But it includes all the things on the near-term roadmap and the longer-term roadmap as well. But the MVP is the list of 4 things that absolutely have to be included for PulseChain to launch. Now, what are they? Right, let's go over them one by one. First is the testnet, and this is where we're getting a little hung up right now. So this is where the developers are running into a little small issue that will be resolved. But testnet is basically just a network. It's exactly what it sounds like, to test out the code and make sure everything runs, so you can debug the code to make sure it works flawlessly at launch, right? We want to be careful with things like blockchain, because it's people's money we're talking about. You can't just rush these things to market. So if a lot of you guys might be feeling antsy or, impatient about the PulseChain launch, really, really sit down and think about it. Would you rather have a network that works great, that's been tested out flawlessly, or would you rather rush it to market, get hacked, and lose all your money, right? So these things take time. And let me explain kind of what a testnet is, right? If you open up your MetaMask account, you should already have MetaMask, right? If you click on the Networks tab up here, which is really just this upper button, it's a green button on the top of your MetaMask account. It says Ethereum Mainnet. Click on it and you'll open up Ropsten Test Network, Kovan Test Network, Rinkeby, Goerli, and you can also try testing out other networks like Binance Smart Chain or the Matic Mainnet, or even a custom RPC or your local host. So I'm going to walk through that at the end of the video. So again, make sure you stick around, because we'll talk about how to do that and the similarity between BSC and PulseChain. But what I'm showing you here is a mixture of both test networks and live networks, right? The Ethereum mainnet is live. The Binance Smart Chain network is live. The Ropsten test network is just what it's called, a test network. Now, if I hop over to the Ropsten test network, you might see 3 Ethereum in my account here. This is not real Ethereum, guys. I got this Ethereum from a faucet because I was testing it around, because I was playing around with it. And I went to a website that gave me test network Ethereum. So this 3 ETH is basically test ETH that I went into. And this is back when I was playing around with ZK Sync and DAI and some other stuff. So you can do all this stuff on your own and really familiarize yourself with how blockchain software works. And it's pretty interesting. You can't really lose money in a testnet, right? So I can't really do anything with this Ethereum. Again, it's not real, but it's fun to go play around. If I hop over to, let's say, the Matic mainnet, this is where we were playing around earlier with the instantaneous and free transactions on the Matic layer 2. Now, unfortunately, there's admin keys in the Matic layer 2, so it's not a feasible solution for Hex in the long term. But Matic mainnet is another, network that you can connect your MetaMask account to. So this is all with the same MetaMask account. Let's go see what the talk of the town is with the testnet, right? We can see right over here, if we just go to follow Richard Hart on Twitter, you can basically get the updates of what the devs are working on when we're trying to figure out the little issue with the testnet right now. So there's an issue with the testnet syncing, which I believe might lead to a PulseChain delay. But again, you want to be careful with this kind of stuff and really think it through. So if you click on Richard Hart's tweets in the past couple of days, you can see that some of the developers are talking about the testnet getting hung up on a particular block hash, on a particular block. So it's having trouble processing when it gets to a certain point in the Ethereum chain. So the list of all the transactions ever, it's getting hung up at block 12,959,000. And they're just trying to figure out why. Software is a game of basically running code, running into bugs, debugging them, running into more bugs and debugging them until you get to a state where everything is usable. This is just how software development works. I know because I've worked in software development for 5 years. Not as a developer, but as a product person around some very high-level developers. So that's where we're at with the testnet right now for MVP. Now, number 2 on the list for the minimum viable product is to update go.hex.com. Go.hex.com is where you stake your hex, but I'm imagining they're going to add some kind of toggle to the website so that you can switch between the original hex and p-hex. If you haven't caught the update by now, it sounds like the nomenclature of what we're going to be calling hex going forward is that hex on the Ethereum network is going to be called hex only. So contrary to what we were saying earlier, people are saying e-hex a lot of the time. I believe the nomenclature going forward might just be hex for the Ethereum version of hex because it just makes sense with all of the existing infrastructure and all the websites that are listing hex. If we start calling it e-hex, it might be kind of hard to find, right? But the hex on the Pulse chain going forward is going to be called p-hex. You are just going to have some kind of a toggle to toggle between the networks, right? And so depending on what your MetaMask is connected to, whether it's connected to the ETH mainnet or the PulseChain mainnet, you're going to see your stakes on ETH and your stakes on PulseChain. And you'll see your liquid hex on PulseChain and your liquid hex on ETH. So just visualize, I know it doesn't exist yet, but just visualize going to go.hex.com and there being some kind of big obvious button where you just flip-flop back and forth between networks, wherever that might be. So that's number 2, right? That's what we can expect for before PulseChain goes live. Number 3 is going to be bridges. We need bridges when we're building the new PulseChain network because we need a way to transfer coins from the ETH network into the PulseChain network, okay? That's what a bridge essentially is. So this is the third thing that's included in the minimum viable product, or that will be when PulseChain actually launches. And it hasn't launched yet. So again, be careful of anybody claiming that, they have some Pulse tokens for you. The sacrifice phase is over and PulseChain is a couple months away in my opinion. So bridges are the third thing, and this would be to imagine just bridging over from one network to another. If you've ever used the Matic mainnet before, it's very similar to that. We'll actually go over an example of what a bridge looks like in real life in a little bit, so again, stick around. But we need a way to bridge tokens of value over to the PulseChain network, which will have zero trading activity on the first, millisecond. And from there, the rest is going to be history. We're going to have the ability to bridge over Ethereum, let's say, or USDC, for example, from the Ethereum mainnet over to the PulseChain mainnet so we can transact freely and we can swap for Hex or whatever other PRC20s that we want to have going forward. And PRC20s are what we're calling the copies of the Ethereum token on the PulseChain blockchain. Finally, the Block Explorer is going to be the fourth and final thing for the MVP. What this really means is just like etherscan.io. If you go to etherscan.io, that's what a Block Explorer is. Okay, it's just a way for you to look up addresses and transactions and verify on a front end that they really happened, when they happened, how many confirmations they've been through, and really just tracing all of your trades and stuff like that on an easy UI and front end so that you don't need to go into the command line. That's the 4 things for the minimum viable product. Right now, the go.hex.com update is in progress and the testnet is in progress, right? But they're both running into bugs, which is obviously expected. So just wanted to set expectations that it's not like PulseChain is going to release next week or even next month, right? And then after that, we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up for post MVP goals. So again, I'm just the messenger here. I'm not working on this directly. I'm not a Hex developer. I'm just trying to communicate to you what's going on the back end in case you're in the dark and just might not have heard. So follow Richard Hart on Twitter if you want to see all this really cool post MVP stuff. And I'm just going to show it to you directly right here, right? So if you go follow Richard Hart's old tweets, I'll post the tweet in the description below. This is essentially where I'm getting all this from. This is the PulseChain mainnet MVP. So again, we've got Testnet, go.hex.com working. We know that's in progress. We know Testnet's in progress because we could see, Richard Hart's over here talking about the issues with it. And then we've got a block explorer, bridges, and a Uniswap v2 front end for PulseChain. So this already exists, right? So the reason I didn't mention that earlier is because the Uniswap v2 front end already exists at ethhex.com, but you can rename a copy essentially and call it, I don't know, pulsehex.com or whatever it might be. And that will exist as well. So these 5 things will exist on day 1 of PulseChain's launch. You're going to have an actual network. You're going to be able to stake your hex on go.hex.com on both networks, ETH and Pulse. You're going to have bridges, so you can bridge over tokens like Ethereum and USDC, so you can get them into the PulseChain ecosystem and start trading them over there. You're going to have a Uniswap v2 front end on PulseChain, which is going to be your trading platform, because you need somewhere to actually trade on a UI and not the command line. And finally, a block explorer just for added benefits of seeing transaction history, seeing block confirmations, and being able to trace different smart contracts and stuff like that. Now, post MVP, there's some really cool hype that I just want to mention. So if you're not super bullish on Pulse already, this is going to get you bullish, guys. Post MVP, we're going to have a PancakeSwap fork, which is insanely important because this is going to have liquidity provider rewards. And I'll talk about PancakeSwap in a second. It's basically Uniswap's main swapping platform. And it has its own token as well. So the PancakeSwap fork will also have its own liquidity providing token for rewarding you for providing liquidity on that platform. Now, this is, again, a really bullish thing because this would be yet a third token that you'd be able to get into for rewards. And we've seen an example with that in things like QuickSwap, which existed on the Matic mainnet. So if you want to see the price performance of LP reward tokens, look up the price performance of QuickSwap over time and look up the price performance of the PancakeSwap token as well. So really quick, while we're on the topic of LP reward tokens, again, these are tokens that you get rewarded for providing liquidity to incentivize, regular people to make liquidity pools for other regular people to trade tokens. So we saw this on QuickSwap, right? And this is what happened to the Quick token price. Initially went from $44, exploded to 500, dipped down to 200, and now it's sitting pretty at about 600 or 700-ish, right? 592 today. So these have done pretty well over time, and this was only back in March, right? So QuickSwap has only been around since March. We go over and we look at PancakeSwap. This is their LP reward token. For, a couple months, 1, 2, 3, 4 months, it was less than $1, right? It was hovering around 40 cents. And then after 4 months, we could see, again, explosive price movement on here too, which would make me bullish for yet another liquidity providing token, just in the sense of this is kind of social proof that these tokens do work and do incentivize liquidity, because today PancakeSwap or Cake token is sitting at $25. Now again, I'm not endorsing any of these coins, Quick or Cake, but I just wanted to use them as an example of how LP reward tokens do well and how that makes me even more excited for PancakeSwap, the fork of PancakeSwap, when it comes out on PulseChain, because whatever LP token is going to be on PulseChain for the PancakeSwap fork will probably also do pretty well. Now, we're going to have coin ranking sites for PRC20s. If Nomics and CoinGecko are going to keep gatekeeping and keep being terrible at their jobs, we're going to make our own coin ranking site and just, again, really create our own ecosystem. So this is going for, Hex and PulseChain are just 2 steps along the way of totally overtaking all of the blockchain space, right? It's insane. A wallet to replace MetaMask. Now, Binance Smart Chain did this, and they've, provided social proof that does work. And again, MetaMask works fine, but if you could replace MetaMask and have a custom Pulse wallet in your browser, that'd be even better, right? So you wouldn't even have to ever leave the PulseChain ecosystem. Uniswap, but across chains, more bridges for, more different blockchains to connect all these different interoperable blockchains together. Uniswap v3 front end, stablecoin, our very own stablecoin, right? And this would be from the exchange that Richard Hart is making, that he's been talking about. So he's going to be making a USD on-ramp, right? Which is going to be insane. So you won't even need Coinbase to get involved in Hex and PulseChain. And finally, an aggregator, kind of like 1inch, right? That would be some kind of a trading platform that would distribute or maybe relay your swaps and transactions across every different platform to get the best bang for your buck, and also to do limit orders like we've seen with Matcha or Metric.exchange. But we would have our own, hypothetically, in the future. And this is all in a post-MVP world. I'm just pulling up the image for you so you don't have to find it yourself on Twitter. And to top it all off, the icing on the cake here is margin trading so that short sellers can get wrecked and we can explode the price even higher. And finally, a Tornado.cash fork, which already exists, but we just need more users on it. And so we've, again, forked this Tornado Cash fork that we have for Hex. You know, we call it Hex NATO. And we would just make sure that it's working on the PulseChain network. And once we have more users on Hex NATO, that would allow the anonymity sets to be bigger. And basically, anonymity tools become more useful once they have more adoption, and only once they have more adoption. So that's existing code that we can repurpose, brand, market, and again, make your Hex anonymous as well. So that's a lot, guys. That's a lot of post-MVP goals, and we're just talking about the MVP for now. So just some things you can expect in both the near-term MVP future and the long-term for PulseChain and Hex and the whole ecosystem. I mean, we're fixing crypto, guys. We're fixing the whole thing. All the BS, all the terrible UX, the high gas fees, the terrible customer service. There's going to be no need for any of that because we're going to have working software. We just want to do it the right way and really provide the best experience for everybody. Now, everybody wants to know the final thing, right? When launch, when launch, when launch. I don't know. Nobody knows yet. And anybody telling you they know when the PulseChain network will launch is lying. Okay? They're lying to you and they're going to scam you. So my best guess, you know, I would just say expect delays, right? Expect delays for sure. Software is hard. And again, you want to do this right so that you don't mess it up. There's a saying in Silicon Valley that says, move fast and break things, right? And I totally do not agree with this slogan. When it comes to blockchain, this slogan is an awful slogan. You're talking about people's money. So you don't want to move fast and break things. You want to move slow and get it right. Richard Hart has a track record of doing this, right? He did it with Hex. Hex was delayed for months. If anybody remembers the OG days, it was always, you know, the joke was it was always 4 weeks away, and Hex was 4 weeks away for like 12 weeks, right? So, Hex was done right. Hex was done properly, and that's why it's had 100% uptime with 0 hacks, while everything else in crypto gets hacked all around us. So we want that in PulseChain too. It's better to be right than to be fast. So if you're complaining about the PulseChain launch, don't think of it as a bad thing. Think of it as a very, very positive thing because Richard Hart and his team are unusual in the sense of they care a lot about people and they care a lot about not losing people's money. So again, I've worked as a tech consultant at a software company for 5 years and I know how these things work. I'm not being optimistic. I'm being realistic when I'm giving my guess. And again, it's just a guess, right? But my guess is that we'll see the PulseChain launch in early November, right? It's just my best guess based on delays that are expected and getting it right. And just the fact that this is brand new territory. This is a new frontier. And we've seen people do examples of this like Binance Smart Chain, Matic and all that. But we want to take that and fix it all because we know there's a lot of problems with the existing software and infrastructure, and we want to do it the right way. So again, I'm not a developer. I'm not on the team, right? I'm just a decentralized community member, just like you. I'm just a relayer of information. I'm just an antenna for you to come to and transmit what I know to you so that you don't have to go dig it up and go looking for it because there's a whole bunch of information on the internet and a lot of misinformation too. So these are just the facts right now. This is what we know, and this is what you can expect for a PulseChain launch. Now, to go more into expectations, right? What can you do in the meantime, right? We're sitting around, we're waiting, we're all hyped. The PulseChain sacrifice was a massive success. Billions of dollars were raised, and we're all very eager to get our Pulse tokens, right? Now, the allocations are being worked on, so what's exciting is that in the near future, you can expect to know, how much allocated Pulse you might receive. So that'll be a nice near-term benefit for all of us. That's going on the sidelines too, right? They're tallying up how much everybody sacrificed, and they're going to tally up how much Pulse tokens, how much quantity of Pulse you can expect to get. But again, these Pulse tokens don't have a price yet. So all you can really say to yourself is, well, this is how many tokens I'm going to get, and how much that'll be worth on day one is to be determined, right? But in the meantime, you can go test out Binance Smart Chain, guys. Go connect to Binance Smart Chain. I did this earlier, and it helped me understand, and it'll help you understand what to actually expect. I mean, just Google it, guys. I'll post this link in the description below, but just Google, hooking up MetaMask into Binance Smart Chain. This is some documentation provided by metamask.org. They've got a lot of info just about setting up MetaMask. You've probably already done that, but it's really just like a 4-step process, right? You connect your RPC, type in a chain ID, a symbol, and a block explorer. I mean, this is a picture of what it would look like, right? So you take your MetaMask in the top right corner, you go click on the top button, right, where all your networks are, you click custom RPC, and you can connect to a new network, right? So in this, if you want to connect to Binance Smart Chain, you just type in Binance Smart Chain, BSC, call it whatever you want. For the RPC, just put in this RPC, this URL. For the chain ID, just type in, 56. And we want to put BNB in there. And you just play around with it, guys. Just try it out yourself so you can see that is how you add a network to your network list. And you just toggle back and forth, right? It will give you a better feel for all this stuff. Now, what else can we do? Test out Block Scout. Blockscout.com is what we're going to be using at first. This is the website right here. It's what we're going to be using as a block explorer in the early days of PulseChain. So you can see right now, they offer blockchain explorer services for XDAI, which is a layer 2 fork or something like that, and different mainnets like Ethereum Classic, POA, Rootstock, POA Sokol. I don't know what all these are. Artis, Sigma, Luxo, L14. I don't know what a lot of this stuff is, guys, but PulseChain could easily be added to here to visualize, a lot of the info about the blockchain, right? So we can see for the XDAI example, the average block time is 4.5 seconds. 4 million wallet addresses, 17 million blocks, 52 million transactions. This would be very similar to our Etherscan, okay? In the early days of PulseChain, this would be like our version of Etherscan, right? So just look on here. You can see all the transactions going on. You could search for them and, search for them in the top corner, blah, blah, blah. And you can go down to the bottom and see that we've got mainnets, testnets, APIs, and bridges. So you're able to see a lot of useful info about a lot of different blockchains. And so that's probably where the PulseChain Block Explorer will be on day 1. So check it out and again, get a feel for it. What else can you do when you're sitting around waiting? Test out PancakeSwap, guys. PancakeSwap is what we're eventually going to fork to. This is PancakeSwap over here, guys. It looks very similar to Uniswap, right? It itself is a fork of Uniswap. So PancakeSwap is what Binance Smart Chain uses. So all those Binance guys over there, they're all using this, right? And they're using this with their Cake token as their liquidity rewards and their BNB token as their main network token. So BNB is to Binance Smart Chain as ETH is to Ethereum. Does that make sense? Just like Cake is to Binance Smart Chain as Quick is to Matic Mainnet. So hopefully you're following all this, right? But this is where you can connect your wallet. To go one step farther with PancakeSwap, there's a button down here where you can convert ERC20s to BEP20s, basically converting ETH tokens to Binance tokens. And that's another thing you can test out, right? Test out bridges. So if we go here and click on this bridge over here, we could see this is what the bridge for Binance Chain looks like. So we could say, I want to transfer some Ethereum tokens over to Binance Smart Network, right? And I want to do, USDC. So I actually went ahead and did this just so I can get a feel for how things might work in the future, right? And if you're a Binance Smart Chain user or an Ethereum user, you can transfer between the two chains by, clicking on that link on PancakeSwap and going to the Binance.org bridge. And you could say, I want to transfer 1,000 USDC from my Ether wallet to my Binance Smart Chain wallet. And it's all going to be, again, in your same MetaMask account. So you don't have to create a new account. It's all connected to your single public address. You only have one public address. And that public address can take you on to all these different networks. So it's really pretty simple, pretty elegant in that sense, right? And so you can actually do this yourself. Maybe you want to buy a token on Binance Smart Chain. Again, I'm not recommending any tokens or anything, but you can do this all from your computer. And finally, guys, after you tested all this out, build the hype. I mean, we're already building so much hype on Twitter, and it's been great. It's been a lot of fun being a part of this community with all you guys. But just continue to tell your friends and get them excited. Tell them about how great it's going to be, all the awesome features that I just showed you. And just tell them about what to expect, because really the hype is what's going to get people onboarded. And all this stuff only works if people are actually using it at the end of the day, guys. We want to adopt the entire world, to give the whole world free and sovereign money, to spread financial freedom to everybody, and to subvert the entire financial system in the biggest revolution since the internet, right? This is the monetary revolution. It's democratizing finance the way that the internet democratized information. And this is just one step in the evolution of mankind, which PulseChain is going to take us there faster, right? It's going to take us there. It's going to launch us there on a rocket to the moon. So I probably ranted long enough and just wanted to give you a little taste of what's to come. I hope you're all as excited as I am. I'm super bullish on Hex, super bullish on PulseChain. Enjoy your new all-time highs lately. We hit 25 cents today. What more can I say, guys? Couldn't be happier to be part of this community. So thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.